Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. It's been a while since I've done a deck review, but that's mostly because I have been playing locals. I just haven't been, there hasn't really been anything to talk about recently for me, but I did just go undefeated with this deck at locals, so I figured I'd showcase it. It is a pure Fire King deck. It's literally just like 3 of the structure decks and a whole bunch of hand traps. That's it. So yeah, I'm just going to quickly go through the card by card and the explanations for what and why, and don't expect this to be like meta defining or anything like that. This is just for fun, and so if you want to play a fun deck that isn't tier 0, or you don't want to play the Snake Eye stuff, but you still want to play Fire King, which is a very fun deck to play, and a very fun deck to play against, here you go. Starting off, we are of course maxing out on Kieran. This card's crazy. It just reads like a custom card. Being able to pop cards, being able to non-target destroy, being able to monster reborn, being able to like just all sorts of incredible things. Yeah, obviously. Then we're playing 2 Garunics. Normally, the like Snake Eye Fire King lists are only playing 1. Playing 2 can be kind of a brick, but it's very useful to have the second one. Oftentimes, it's more useful for because you kind of need additional plays sometimes to be able to go like pop a Garunix in your hand to search out the second one, or like special summon the second one from your hand or something like that. So it's like fairly decent to have the second one. Plus, in case if they ever deal with it, it's way more important to have the second one in case like it gets DD Crowed or Called Bite or something like that. Then I'm playing 3 Tenki with this deck. There's a lot of searches for Beast Warriors, which we'll go over now. So yeah, Tenki makes sense. We're playing the 3 Arvada. I considered playing only 2 because it's kind of dead, but the thing is, it's very good just drawing like fires, and this happens to be one of the better fires to just like normal summon in general, because it gives you access to, sorry, let me shift these over. It gives you access to quite a lot in terms of like a monster negate if you end up seeing like any other fire, so it can at least like stifle the bleeding sometimes if you end up bricking. But this deck doesn't brick almost at all. It's pretty consistent, and that's one of the big things that I do like about it, is that it's very consistent. Then we're playing 3 other targets for our Tenkis, that being 2 Beirong and 1 Rangali. Now, the Beirong is pretty self-explanatory. In pure Fire Kings is very good. Just search out any Fire King card is very, very useful. So, like, you could search out Kieran, mostly is what's searched out with this. But if you already have a Kieran, it can search out, like, a Ponics, or it can search out a whatever it may be, which is very useful. And both of the Beirong and the Rangali have the ability to special summon themselves if a face-up Fire King is destroyed. So if, for example, you were to pop your Ponics that ends up searching your Fire King Temple or Fire King Island, you're then able to special summon these guys. I was originally not playing Rangali. I decided to put it in, and it was very, very useful, mostly because it's just, if you already have a Garunix in your hand, or you already have the searches that you need, it's like a free special summon, which is very, very useful. It's also a spell trap negate, which is also great. So unlike Avatar or Arvada, instead of being the monster negate, it's the spell trap negate. It's also slightly weaker, which does come up, but other than that, it's not really that big of a deal. It's a free special summon as well, so that's very nice. The body on field doesn't matter too much. Then we are playing 3 Ponics, obviously. I mean, it's like the best normal summon in the deck. Being able to search out basically your full combo while also being part of that full combo, and being able to use it as like a pop. It can also special summon itself as well if you destroy like a Beirong on the field or an Arvada. There's a lot of times where I've gone like normal summon Arvada to like play around Ash, and then pop the Arvada, which would then give me, like, if I already have a Garunix in hand or something along those lines, I can then just, like, special summon out the Ponics if I search it, which is very, very useful, because we have a lot of search targets for the Ponics, which is, of course, the 3 Fire King Sanctuary. This seems pretty self-explanatory. It's very strong. That's it. It's just, it's an insane card. Being able to special summon an Xyz monster using only Fire Kings is very useful. Being able to protect your Fire King Island, and more importantly, being able to actually set the Fire King Island onto the field, which, yes, I'm running 3 copies of. Should this be maybe a copy of Terraforming and 2 copies of Fire King Island, maybe. But honestly, this card is very, very useful. Just drawing it as well gets you into your combo, gets you into consistent recursion, which is also very useful. So I'm playing 3. I've had it come up as a brick like once or twice, but most of the time, even having that second copy isn't terrible, because you can actually just like get rid of your own Fire King Island to trigger effects like a Bayrong or something like that. So it's not terrible. Then we're playing at 2 of the Fire King Skyburn and 1 Fire King, or Circle of the Fire King. Skyburn is very, very useful. That's it. It's just an insane board wipe kind of effect. So it's very strong, very useful to have. I obviously am playing 2 of it because we're playing Pure Fire King, so it makes a lot more sense to have that pop and that consistent interaction. And then we have the Circle, which originally, again, I wasn't playing it, and then I bumped my deck up to 42 playing the Rangali as well as the Circle, and both of them have performed insanely well. I haven't been any more inconsistent. I haven't noticed. In fact, I'd say that I'm even more consistent now, just due to the fact that I have access to like additional bodies and stuff like that. So there's that. But then, yeah, Circle of the Fire King is very, very useful because it can specifically target a fire and not just a Fire King. So that means like you can potentially like pop an Ash to get a Garunix into rotation or something along those lines, which is useful. But more importantly, it's just useful for like extra damage. It's useful for pushing for game. It's useful for triggering like a Kirin or something like that. So lots of very useful interactions with that. And then we have 2 other spells, that being the Called By and the Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial may seem a little weird in here, but because of the where is he? Because of Garunix, it does make a lot more sense to run, because you can just dump Garunix with the Foolish Burial, and then from there, you're able to go off to the races. And as long as you can like pop a card, even if you just like normal summon a Fire King, doesn't matter if it gets negated or whatnot, just like normal summoning it means that if they destroy it, you get the Garunix effect, which can then trigger a Kirin, which can pop a card non-target and all of that jazz. And if they like walk into it by battle, which a lot of people don't realize, the Garunix still triggers. So Garunix, yeah, still has the ability to trigger there. So if they were to just like destroy a card by battle or something like that, you can go in damage calculation basically, or in the damage step. You get a special summon the Kirin or the Garunix pop Kirin special summon. So if they have something like a red, right, like Sprite Red or something like that, it's not going to be able to interact, or an Ash Blossom or what have you, right, which is pretty useful. Next up is that's actually it for engine, technically. I guess Called By is not really engine, but the rest is non-engine, kind of. Except for these last 2 slots, which are 2 of the Fire Kaiju Dogoran. The only reason this is in here, 1, it's good going second, but 2, it's a fire. It's a Fire Kaiju, which is very, very useful. Just having an additional fire monster is very important. Again, Garunix just requires the original attribute of the monster to be fire for it to special summon itself when a card is destroyed. So again, if you have to pop a Dogoran in your hand, that's fine. Just as long as it's a fire, it's pretty good. And of course, it's good going second, so I'm main decking it. Yeah, it's just like an additional option. This could also be like 2 hand traps, like a Ghost Mourner or something like that, or a Ghost Bell or what have you. But I just chose to go for the Dogoran to give me additional options with like Fire King Island. And since I'm running 3 Fire King, it made more sense for that. The rest of these are literally just hand traps. We have 3 Veiler, 3 Droll, 3 Ash, and 3 Invip. And that's it. I decided not to main deck Nibiru, mostly because I'm not playing against like Snake Eye a whole lot. If I were playing against more Snake Eye, I would probably switch the Droll for the Nibiru. Just, they basically would do the same thing, but I think Droll is a little bit better right now for me, personally. But I am side decking the 3 Nibiru. So that's obviously something that you could like change. If you think that Droll is more important, you could switch that out. If you, instead of Dogoran, you wanted to play instead the 2 Nibiru in the main deck, that's also obviously an option. Yeah, so most of those slots, the 14 slots that are there, are more or less flexible. But yeah, all in all, pretty solid, pretty fun as well. So that's it for the main deck. Let's look at the we'll look at the side deck first. Now, there's nothing really too special about the side deck. It's just kind of like cards that are good in side deck. So we have one Lightning Storm and Harpy's Feather Duster. I just got a Cosmic Cyclone today, so that would probably be put in here. It's just back row removal, basically. We have 2 droplets. There you go, 2 droplets. Yeah, I actually really do like the droplets. I think that they're pretty good. They're not like specifically good in the current metagame, but I do like them because being able to send a card to the graveyard, like for example in Arvada, if need be, to potentially bring it back with like a Kieran or what have you, it's pretty useful, and they're just like good board breakers. Then of course, as I mentioned, we have the 3 Nibiru. Oh, that's it for the spells as well for the side deck. We have 3 Nibiru. Yeah, it's Nibiru. It's pretty good. Should probably be main decking it. Maybe I don't really have space to main deck Nibiru and Droll, so that's kind of why we're not. So there's that. I have 2 more kaijus. Realistically, these should be like summon limits. And I just bought summon limits, so these are going to be summon limits. But there you go. In fact, let me grab the... You know what? I could do that later. I was going to say, let me grab the summon limits, but honestly, it doesn't matter. Then we have triple evenly matched. Pretty self-explanatory here. Yeah, that's basically it. And then we have 3 Solemn Judgments. Judgments is just a solid card going first, and I felt like my going first options weren't as good, especially if like Droll isn't good in the matchup, or like Valor or something like that isn't good in the matchup. These are pretty often coming in mostly like games 2 and 3 where I guarantee that I'm going first, which is mostly game 3 actually. When I know I'm going first. So there's that. It's fairly decent all in all. The cards that I have in the side deck, I feel like they're okay, but they're not exceptional. This isn't for like a YCS or anything like that. I'm not specifically expecting to play against meta. It's just kind of generic cards. As for the extra deck, honestly, most of this doesn't matter. Also, it's like all from the structure deck, basically. Almost. So we have, starting off here, we have 2 of the level 8 Garunix Eternity, or rank 8, not level 8, but 2 of the rank 8 Garunix Eternity, which is a very funny card. It's Dark Hole on summon, and then it is also Spell Trap removal, which is very funny. On top of that, if it's destroyed while it has material and sent to the graveyard, it is able to reborn Fire Kings from grave, which is very nice. Is it Fire Kings or is it Fires? I think it's Fire Kings. Fire Kings, yeah. Up to the number of materials that it had. So if you pop it with 2 materials, or if your opponent destroys it with 2 materials, you get to summon back the 2 materials, or 2 materials worth of cards, which is very, very useful. Yeah, just a solidly good card. This is very good paired with the spell, the quick play spell, Sky King Burn, Sky Burn King. Let me see. Where is it? There it is. Fire King Skyburn. Very good paired with this. Just being able to like pop this to then reborn 2 guys. And then like that triggers Garunix, the regular Garunix, to then pop additional cards. So very, very useful there. We have a bunch of we have 2 other 8s, rank 8s. That being the Hope Harbinger. This one's not from the structure deck, notably, but it's an okay card. It came up once. It's fine. But yeah, that's kind of it. It's not too useful. And then we have this one, the Giant Trainer, which gives you access to just like drawing cards if you happen to have like an extra Kieran on your side of the field or something like that. It's not great, but it's something. Again, most of this extra deck just doesn't matter, which is exactly why we're playing Diamond Direwolf. It's in here because it's funny, and it's from the structure. That's it. We also have ourselves a Baguska. Pretty self-explanatory. We are playing enough 4s to where it like can come up, but most of the decks don't care about Baguska anyway. Then, of course, we're playing a double Azaius and a Downard. Now, these are very cuttable. Like, honestly, I've never summoned Zeus with this, so you could play whatever here. Honestly, I'm not playing Promethean Princess because that's expensive, and I'm also not playing Link Karibo, so that's definitely an option available to you in these 2 slots. But honestly, like all of the Xyzs could be cut, obviously. Except for I think you would definitely at least play one of these. but most of these could be changed and exchanged for something else. As for the rest of the cards, we are playing in Almirage for our Links. Sorry, that's it for the Xyz. For Link monsters, we're playing 1 Almirage. We're playing 2 Hita. Hita's just nice. It's okay right now. It's actually, I mean, it's really good. It's just not great in this deck because I don't have Promethean Princess, so it kind of doesn't do anything. But notably, I do have a few other things. I have Phoenix, I have an IP Masquerena, and then I have 2 targets for IP Masquerena, which is Unicorn and Crusadia Avermax. And that's more or less it for the deck. All in all, I do enjoy the deck quite a bit. I think it's very fun. I think it's very interesting to play, and all in all, it's a pretty strong deck, all things considered, given the fact that it's basically just 3 structures thrown together. I think even Solemn Judgment came in the structure deck, so like a lot of this stuff is just from structure decks, besides like Nibiru and Hand Traps and stuff like that. So all in all, though, very fun deck, very enjoyable. Not insane by any stretch of the imagination, but yeah, there we go. That's more or less what I've been playing. I also built Tri-Brigade Lyrilisk recently, but it's Tri-Brigade Lyrilisk, because I've done countless videos on that, so there you go. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, like us very much, so appreciate it. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.